Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, y'all. How are you doing? So, I wanted to come on for a brief minute. Yesterday, I promised that I would do three myths about corporate trainers. And I didn't get to it yesterday. Yesterday was a ridiculously busy training day for me. I had some guest speakers on at Lone Star College for my class that I teach. And then I had a couple of classes that I had to train. So I didn't get to do this live to share with you guys the three myths about corporate trainers. So I said, well, let me get on this morning and share with you guys early. So if you are catching this live, I am Tiffany Hicks, and I am the CEO of VRE Training Solutions, and I am the creative behind Trainers Are Dope. So if you're catching this on the replay, that's great, but I wanted to make sure that I hopped on for a quick couple moments to talk to you about these three myths. So the way I came up with the idea about the myths is I was actually talking to my mentor, and I was sharing with her about what I really like about training and the things that people think about training that that really aren't true, like they're just myths. So I have three of them, and we're going to start with number one. And this live is good for anyone that is you are an existing trainer and you're trying to grow your training career, or if you are someone that aspires to be a trainer, these myths will really help you with a better insight into the training industry and into the skill set. So let's get started. Three myths. Myth number one. Myth number one is that people think, or trainers sometimes think, that they have to know everything about their subject matter. That is a myth. And if I could put that up on the screen, I would. It is a myth. As a trainer, you are not responsible for knowing everything about your industry or even everything about the material that you're teaching. As a trainer, you have to have a skill set that involves your ability to be able to prepare. So that means that you don't know everything. Someone can put material in front of you, but you are good at facilitating that material. And most importantly, you are good at prepping. So you go, you read the material, you prep it, and then you have to have a natural curiousness. You have to have a natural inquisitiveness about you that will prompt you to go and do research. If you see something in the material and you say, I think that my audience may ask this question because this is a question I have as a trainer. And then in your preparation, you go out and you research a little bit more. You write some notes about it so that you could anticipate potential questions from your audience. And that has to come from an authentic place. You have to authentically really want people to know more about the material and anticipate the questions that they may ask. Do you need to know everything? No, you don't. You will never be prepared for every question that your participants will ask, because the questions come according to the person's individual experience with the material and with you as a facilitator. So you do not have to know everything. If you join me and you would like a training coach or a training consultant or someone to help you with putting your project together, Trainers Are Dope, the program that we're going to be launching, it answers that. What do you do to not feel like you need to know everything? And there are some strategies that are behind that. There's some suggestions that we can give you, but you do need to know that as a trainer, you do not have to know everything. What you do have to possess is the curiousness, being inquisitive, being authentic in self, and really wanting to know more about what you're teaching, and then be able to research so that you can add additional resources for yourself, but also for your participants. So, myth number one is that trainers know everything, because they do not, and they're not required to. So if you're just joining, thank you for joining. We are talking about the three myths that are about corporate trainers. So myth number one, we talked about trainers do not have to know everything. All right, so let's move on to number two. Myth number two is that trainers have to talk all the time. They do not. Trainers are not required to talk all the time. You are required to take in the material and deliver the theory. When you are at the point that you have delivered the theory, an amazing trainer understands how to put together activities that navigate the participants through application. And after giving theory, it is the trainer's job to listen to the participants. So at this point, you should be at 80-20. You should really be listening for 80% of the time and then talking for 20% of the time, because your goal is to really engage your participants, hear what they have to say about the theory that you've presented, and then really your job is to give them stories from your life that will resonate with them so that they can understand how to take what they have just learned and incorporate that into their performance, how to grow in their performance. And so what I would say is that after delivering theory, you want to talk less and listen more so that you can engage the audience, not just to find out if knowledge transferred, but also so that you can shift into another hat that a lot of trainers wear, which is a coaching hat. But we'll talk about that later as we go on in the journey of trainers are dope. But really understanding that once you've delivered that information, now it's time for you to take all of your expertise and help them with how to apply it to their life, or how to apply it to their career, or how to apply it to whatever job task that they have that you are requiring a change in behavior. So, myth number two. Myth number two is that trainers have to talk all the time. They do not. Trainers are responsible for balancing delivering information and then observing and listening. It's about an entire experience for your participant. So some trainers talk so much that they don't stop and ask questions. They don't say things like, hey, how do you feel about this material? Do you believe that you can apply this? What are some areas of opportunity that you see? Or you could say, what do you think would be your biggest challenge in applying this information to your everyday work habit or to your everyday personal habit, just depending on what you're training. So, myth number two, trainers do not have to talk all the time. As a matter of fact, they're responsible for balancing talking and listening and engaging their participants. All right. If you are just joining and you are watching the replay, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. We are talking about the 3 myths about corporate trainers. So myth number 1 was that trainers have to know everything. Myth number 2 is that they have to talk all the time. And myth number 3 is really that corporate trainers don't engage after they have trained. And that is a myth, because dope trainers engage through a process, right? Dope trainers really identify the fact that there is an entry point and there is an exit point. Really dope trainers understand the importance of evaluation and feedback. And in order for you to get that evaluation or to get the feedback, you really have to participate in the cycle after the training with your participants. You really have to engage them in whether it's a survey afterward or whether it's a touch point afterward to see how they've applied what you've taught. It is so important. Whether you have your own training firm, whether you have your own training program, or even if you are a corporate trainer, you're responsible for knowing your stats. So how are you affecting people in your classroom, especially if you desire to be promoted? So if you want to grow in your training career to the next level, you want to go from just being a trainer to being a training manager, or even being a training supervisor, or being a training director. You have to know your numbers. You have to understand how, when you're on this platform and you teach people, what do they learn? How do they apply it? And what results are attached to that? That is super important. So trainers don't just come in and teach you something and then let it go. Dope trainers are responsible for facilitating building a relationship with you throughout your learning, even to your application, so that they can gather some information to let them know how well they're doing. As a dope trainer, you should be able to walk into any space when you're talking about negotiating a contract with an entity. If you're wanting to present your program to them, or if you are looking to level up in corporate America, when you sit down and you're able to do your performance at the end of every year, you should be able to sit down with your supervisor or manager and say, these are my numbers. This is what I have affected. I have trained this year 270 people. Out of those 270 people, this group of people has bonused and leveled up. Out of those 270 people, 20 of them have grown in their career and been promoted. Out of those 200 and some odd people, these amount of people have generated this kind of revenue, and they've gotten this kind of feedback from their participants. That is so important. It is important that you take control of your own career, your own business, your own destiny. And in order for you to do that, you have to know your numbers. You can't just tell people how great your program is. You have to be evidence-based. You have to be able to let people know your impact on your participants, and you need to keep track of that. And the best way to keep track of that is through surveys and focus groups. It's through following the people that have gone through your programming and touching base with them and saying, hey, you came through this training program a couple months ago, just touching base with you to see if you have been able to find that value and incorporate that value in your programming or in your life or in your career. That is super important. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to share with you guys today the 3 myths about corporate trainers. So if you are just joining and if you're catching the replay, first I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to come and listen to me. But the other thing is I just wanted to tell you those 3 myths are: number 1, corporate trainers do not have to know everything. They don't. They are not required to know everything. They are just required to seek knowledge. Number 2, trainers do not have to talk all the time. As a matter of fact, they should balance talking and listening so that they can make sure that knowledge is being transferred, so that they can hear that out of the mouth of the participants themselves. And then number 3 is that trainers don't follow up. Dope trainers follow up. They don't just follow up for the participants. They do because they're building relationships. They're being relational, right? But super dope trainers understand that the follow-up is for them as well as the participants, because following up with your participants makes you a better trainer. It gives you an opportunity to find out what you need to grow and what you need to do better. So I'll end this live by telling you guys that being a dope trainer is about being a relational trainer. It is not about being a transactional trainer. It is not about training a program, having people come in, pay you for it, and then they leave and then they never hear anything else from you. It's about building that relationship with them to see if they are finding value in what you're training, and then keeping them in your ecosystem, because if you gave them something really good in this one training class, if you are a true dope trainer and creative, you will be creating something else that will be equally as beneficial to them. And then when you build relationships, you get people to refer people to you. So at VRE Training Solutions, which I am the CEO of, one of the main things that we teach is the 4 R's. The 4 R's are building a community and having relationships with people who you can affect the 4 R's. And those 4 R's are: 1, getting referrals; 2, retaining customers and clients and participants in your ecosystem; 3, getting amazing reviews from those people, them saying that you're amazing, giving you that testimonial, saying that you really should, other people should really join your training or go to a class that you facilitate because the value that you bring to the situation. And then number 4 is generating revenue. You are a revenue generator no matter where you are. If you are in corporate America, you are generating revenue for that company because you are teaching employees how to perform at a higher level. When employees perform at a higher level, they do one of 2 things. They either save the company money or they grow money for the company. Same thing for an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur and you are contracting or getting contracts for training, you are driving revenue. And the best way to drive revenue is to get people to become a part of your community because of the depth of the value that you bring. So, those are my 3 myths about corporate trainers. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you are listening now, please drop a comment and let me know if this was good information for you. And if you catch it on the replay, please also make sure that you give feedback. I tell everyone that as a trainer, a dope trainer, feedback is a gift. So if you are interested in the Trainers Are Dope program, know that you will always get feedback from me. You'll get feedback in this group. I like to give feedback about content, and I also like to give feedback about facilitation. And then I also give feedback about the core competencies that trainers should have. And that's what our Trainers Are Dope program is going to be about, really teaching the core competencies that trainers need to have to be successful. So, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to go and get to writing some content that I need to get taken care of. So I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. And again, I just want to tell you guys to be intentional about everything that you do in your career and in your business. And so I have adopted the hashtag excellence. I'm sorry, I'm memorizing it. So my new hashtag for VRE Training Solutions is going to be experience training excellence, because that's what's important. Dope trainers really deliver experiences. They deliver training that evokes excellence out of people and helps them with growing. So I hope that my tips are helping you guys with that. So until the next time that I see you guys, just want to tell you guys that I enjoyed you. Again, signing off, Tiffany Hicks, CEO of VRE Training Solutions, and you guys have an amazing Friday.